Kathy Pogue and her daughter, 18-year-old student Dana Pogue, are suing Dana's sister, 20-year-old caregiver Nina Hawk, and her husband, 22-year-old inventory specialist John Hawk. Catherine and Dana say the couple owe for babysitting fees, the value of a couch, and money taken from a bank account. The Hawks are countersuing for 3 months of living expenses.
Order, all rise.
Your Honor, this is case number 135 on the calendar in the matter of Pogue versus Hawk. You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Mrs. Pogue, this young lady is your daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is your other daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're the
husband.
Let's deal with your daughter's lawsuit first, because I think that might be easier. You are suing your sister because you claim when you were living with her, she had promised to pay you for babysitting.
Yes, ma'am.
And she didn't.
Yes, ma'am.
How old are you?
18.
How old were you when you were living with your sister?
18.
When did you start to live with your sister?
The middle of February.
Why?
I was kicked out of my father's house because I did not get along with my new stepmother. So Nina and her husband said that it would be fine for me to move in with them.
How long had you been living with your father?
I moved in with my father when I was 15.
Prior to that, you had lived with your mother?
Yes.
Why did you leave your mother's house?
Me and my mom didn't really get along at the time.
Now, what was your living arrangement with your sister?
At the beginning, we lived in an apartment, and I had my own room. And then after that, we moved into a bigger house, so I still had my own room.
Okay. Were you paying any expenses?
Yes. Actually, no, I had them under my name. I had the cable under my name and the telephone under my name, but they were paying it.
So you were not paying any expenses in the house?
No, because I was still going to school. And
the answer is you were not. You were 18, but not paying any expenses in the house.
Yes.
Were you getting any money from your mother and father?
No.
Who was giving you spending money?
My sister.
And how many months did you live with her?
3 months, I think, exactly.
Is that right?
3.5 months.
So for 3.5 months, you lived while you were legally an adult, 18. You're living with your sister. You're not paying rent. You're not paying for food.
No,
You're not paying for transportation, and if you had to go to a movie or something, if you wanted to go to a movie or out with friends.
I paid for it. I never asked her to pay for it.
Did she ever give you any spending money? I mean, I can't believe that in 3.5 months you didn't say, could I have $5 or could I have $10 or...
Bought her clothes, gave her money. Yes, I gave her $50 one time, $30 another just for spending money, paid for her boutonniere for her prom, bought her pants, bought her a whole outfit, bought her food for a bird. She neglected to tell me the last month her bird was without food and it died. But besides that, I paid it all.
So why would you sue her for babysitting occasionally for her children?
Because it was a verbal agreement that she said she would give me $110 from her financial aid for going to school to watch her daughter.
During the summer, if I worked, and she made me almost lose my job. I had only worked there a week and a half, and she bailed out on me every single time I asked her to babysit during that only week and a half that she lived with me and I worked.
I'm not going to bother with your babysitting claim, so now you can sit down. You should say thank you to your sister and forget it. All right, now let's get to your claim. There came a time when you wanted to use a bank account that was your daughter's, and you put money into a bank account that was in her name and her husband's?
Just my name.
Just your name?
She opened the account for me, Your Honor.
She couldn't get an account anywhere else. It was a favor.
But then, when you moved that account, there was some outstanding checks, I gather, or outstanding debits, and they took part of the balance that belonged to your mother. You acknowledge that?
Yes.
How much did they take that belonged to you?
$134.77, Your Honor.
Okay, well, you are clearly owed that.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. She did not give me a chance to pay it, though.
All right, $134.77.
We called twice, Your Honor, and her husband said to me
after
on the
offering
phone,
to make payments.
no, before I even had any chance to say anything else, her husband said to me, quote unquote, lick my, take me to court.
Lick my Your Honor.
And that was very unbelievable.
Yeah, it sure is. Not the way to speak to somebody, sir. I'm just telling you. There's no excuse for that.
She called. She called my mom's house because we didn't have a phone at the time, and told my mom what happened. So I think it was like 4 days later. I called her Colette.
He said, "I hear you're going to take me to court."
No, just please.
Okay.
I said, "I hear my mom tells me you're going to sue me for money that was taken out of your account to cover our other account." And she said yes. And I said, and she wanted the money by the 1st. She said it was part of her rent money. I said, I don't know if I can give you all that money by the 1st because my rent's also due. And she said that wasn't acceptable. She needed her money and that I was going to stiff her. And I said, well, then you have to then sue me.
No, I'm telling you, sir, that what you said to her was uncalled for.
Yep, I agree.
Oh, good. Then I don't have to yell at you anymore.
Also, Your Honor, he told me that I couldn't see my granddaughter anymore.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
Well, if you weren't smoking pot and drinking alcohol and
Shh.
everything else,
Stop.
maybe I'd allow
Well,
it.
please, I am not getting into this. Let me just take care of the money, please.
Yes.
You want to fight with each other? Do it outside.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your Honor.
Listen to me. Shouldn't say anything else that is going to make any situation worse.
And later today,
They dressed shamelessly and makeup, and they were hellions. We're 9 and 11 going on 17.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Catherine Pogue and her daughter Dana Pogue say Dana's sister, Nina Hawk, and her husband, John, owe for babysitting fees, a couch, and stolen money.
You have some nonsense here about a couch that you say you loaned to your daughter and she sold.
Yes, ma'am.
You sure you want to get into that?
Ma'am, that was the agreement
What?
between her and I.
What was the
Okay, I had a pretty good sized house, and I was going to move closer to my job.
Go ahead. What year was this?
The beginning of the year 2000.
All right. You said take one of my couches.
I said take both the sofa and the love seat. Please keep them in your control. If you decide to get rid of them, please, I would like them back. Or if you decide to sell them, this is how much I would like for them, because she said that her friend had expressed an interest in buying them. Come to find out, I asked her about them, and she said, oh no, Danielle has them in storage. And I said, oh, well then was Danielle going to buy them? And she said, Danielle already gave me the $350. And I said, well, then why didn't you give it to me? She said, well, I needed to use it at the time. And I said, okay, I understand that, but that was the agreement that you agreed to pay for them.
Go ahead.
This woman talks to me on a
No.
daily basis.
Talk to me about the couches.
She knows exactly what happened. When I was 17, April, she moved out to live with her boyfriend in Vancouver. She left me half the furniture. I've still got the buffet table, the sewing machine, never said anything about payment. I never expected this. I sold it to a friend of mine a year later. I was evicted a week and a half after she moved out because she hadn't paid 4 months' rent.
Okay, when your mother moved, who remained in the house with you?
My boyfriend and his best friend had to move in and help pay expenses.
Just a second. So it was just you and your boyfriend?
Yes.
Is that accurate?
Yeah, pretty close.
Pretty close. Forget the couches. Judgment for the plaintiff on your claim for $134.77. Let me deal with your counterclaim for a moment.
Okay.
And it will take only a moment.
Okay.
Your sister moved in with you, and your counterclaim is that your mother should pay for the 3 months that your sister lived with you.
She offered to help pay out and never paid a dime to help.
Your Honor.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, if you did not have what I consider a real contract with your mother, your sister she certainly is under no obligation to pay anything for your sister who had turned 18. So you want to tell me what financial contract you allege with your mother with regard to your sister's support?
Not anything in writing, just verbally that she said she'd help out whenever she could and
Helping
did
out
not.
whenever she could is not a contract.
Yeah.
Because she can't. But she's going to tell you that she can't. All right, so your counterclaim is dismissed, and on your claim you have $134.77.
Okay.
Listen, I don't know what caused all of this animus all of a sudden, because it sounds to me as if, despite its dysfunctional nature, the family had been working reasonably well.
I love both my daughters dearly, Your Honor.
Well,
Your Honor,
Yeah.
may I ask you something?
who are you?
I talked to Mr.
No, how are you related to these people?
He lives with me, Your Honor.
I'm,
And
yes.
he spoke with John
It was-
about the money owed.
I'm the other person that was on the account. It was my money also.
Just a second.
I've got proof that it
Are you
wasn't.
related to any of these people in any way?
No, Your Honor.
Then I don't want to hear from you.
They tried to say it was his.
Love your show, by the way.
Good. I love your silence.
Your Honor.
Listen to me. Shouldn't say anything else that is going to make any situation worse.
Your Honor, I had no intention of doing that. I would like to tell you that the babysitting thing was, Dana did want to go out and get a job. They told her, no, please, we will pay you for babysitting. That was how that all came about.
Ms. Polk, let me tell you something.
I understand.
If an 18-year-old moves in with his sister and her husband, and there isn't a lot of money floating around, it seems anywhere there's not a lot of money floating around, and it does cost money to have another human being in your house.
Yes.
I am positive that they extended themselves in certain ways financially.
That's probably
in order
true,
to
yeah.
have your daughter,
Right.
her sister, living with them. Whether it's for a pair of shoes or a pair of sneakers or something for graduation or an outfit or $5 to go to
Right.
the movies or whatever. There shouldn't have been an issue. There shouldn't even have been an issue with regard to this suit by your daughter.
And I
That's all.
understand that.
So let's not say any more. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $134.77. That's all.
Thank you,
Parties
Your
are
Honor.
excused. You may step out.
They just don't understand that family is family.
I'm really sorry it had to come to this.
Basically, they've run out of people to borrow money from because they burnt all their bridges, and that's what this is really about.
I don't understand why it happened.
I called him up, asked him if he wanted to handle it like a man and make payments, and he said no, take me to court.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Martin versus Moss. Step forward, please.
Nanny Gail Martin is suing her former employer, day spa owner Kimberly Moss, for non-payment of services rendered. Kimberly says Gail abused her 10-year-old daughter, Lauren.
Miss Martin, you answered an ad in the paper for child care and light housework that the defendant had placed in the paper. It is your claim that you worked there and you were not fully paid before she let you go.
That's correct.
Okay. The defendant says you were, in fact, fully paid. Are these the two children she was supposed to take care of?
Yes, Your Honor.
When did you answer the ad and when did you start working?
I answered the ad the first day I noticed it was in there, and there were 3 children, 2 girls and 1 boy. And I started to work on, the first week was October the 10th, and the second week was October the 15th.
Okay, what was the pay arrangement?
She told me, I told her what I got at my last job, and she said I paid $10 an hour. And after the first week, which was the Friday, but I had to come back Saturday, she only paid me the $300 from the first 3 days.
Well, whatever it was,
It wasn't
that's
enough because I had worked that first week.
The first week, how many days did you work?
4 days.
Is that correct?
I really don't remember.
Well, if you don't remember, then I have to rely on her. And the second week you worked, how many days did you work?
I worked Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. 3
And
days.
how much were you paid during that
None.
2-week period? Yes, you were.
The whole time I worked there, she paid me $300.
Okay. How much did you pay her?
When she first came to my employment, we agreed that she would get $100 a day. And
Really, not $10 an hour?
No. And-
$100 a day, irrespective of how many hours she worked?
Right.
First week she worked 4 days, and you gave her how much?
Whatever it was,
She said you only gave her $300.
well, that's not accurate. Whatever I owed her is what I paid her.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Nanny Gail Martin says former employer Kimberly Moss owes for babysitting fees. Kimberly says Gail threw her 10-year-old daughter in the shower with her clothes on.
So, what happened the second week?
The second week, she was paid up. On the last day, her car broke down. She asked if she could stay with us overnight for a couple days because she didn't have transportation to and from work. And I said that would be fine until she got her car fixed. The first morning of the night that she stayed over, there was a problem. And what happened was I was in bed. My daughter Chelsea came running to me to wake me up, telling me that Gail had put Lauren, my baby, into the hot shower with her nightgown on. So I got up and ran into her bedroom, and there she was crying, cuddled up in the corner in the hot shower. So I got in the shower with her in my nightgown and blocked the hot water from her and adjusted the temperature, and to try to reduce the trauma of what had already occurred, took a shower with her, got her out, we all got ready for school, took her to school. That is why my secretary drove her home, because if I was to confront her about it, it would have turned out ugly. So I had my secretary relieve her from.
Did you
that
put
was
the
the
child
last
in the
day.
shower?
No, ma'am, I would never do that to a child under any circumstances. Never. And if this did happen, how come she didn't call HRS? That's what I'd like to know. When she told me she
Which
didn't have
child
the
was in
money,
the shower?
The baby Lauren was.
Lauren? Come up here. Tell me about the shower.
I was in bed and I didn't want to get up because I didn't feel good. And then she picked
You
me.
mean get up to go to school?
Yeah. And she picked me up out of the bed and put me in the shower, and she turned the hot water on with my nightgown on.
No question in your mind about that? Where was your sister?
She was in bed with me.
Had that ever happened before?
No.
Okay, go sit down. All right. Ms. Moss, the plaintiff worked for you for 3 days, the second week.
Correct.
Did you pay her?
I do not remember the exact
amount of time that she was under employment to
Fine. Then I have to rely on her records for those days.
That's fine.
That she was. Now, at that point, did you fire her?
That day, absolutely.
That day, she was let go.
Absolutely.
Okay. You say not. Is that right?
No, she explained to me she was going to go to Daytona Beach with her boyfriend, and that her business that she just opened, her Kimberly's Day Spa, they do facials,
Whatever.
and massages.
You were
and
told
what.
that your services were no longer
Yes,
necessary.
because her business hadn't taken off like she expected it to, and that she couldn't afford it. This child that's wearing that nice little Sunday school outfit, that's not what they wore when I worked there. They dressed shamelessly.
What do you mean shamelessly?
They dressed in little Daisy Dukes with half their butt poking out the bottom, and little things with their belly buttons showing, and trying to go to school like that. They were, and makeup, and they were hellions.
And what about
they were 9 and 11, going on 17.
Go ahead.
I came back on the Monday to collect some money that she owed me from that previous week. Her oldest son was changing the locks on her house door. And I said, well, what happened? He says, don't expect to find any money here. We had a break-in. Our safe was broken into, but I didn't see any black powder anywhere. So he said, we don't have any money to pay you. So why would she have to do that if she paid me the week before?
Okay.
Now,
okay.
Ergo.
Okay. You work there according to your records, and since she doesn't have any records of her own, which she should have, a total of 7 days. I am crediting her testimony that your agreement was $100 a day, and that she paid you, according to your records, which I am crediting, $300, which means she owes you $400, and I'm issuing a judgment for the plaintiff in that amount. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Now, this is case number 185 on the calendar in the matter of Sanchez versus Ruiz Mendoza. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
Ms. Sanchez, the defendant is your daughter, is that right?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Your cause of action has two parts. One is for car payments that you say you were forced to make when your daughter didn't make payments on a car that she had bought. The second thing is for items of furniture that you bought for her with certain conditions. She reneged on the conditions, and you feel as if she should be responsible for paying for the furniture, or you want it back. So let's deal with the car first. Tell me about this car.
Okay, and she had come back from Alabama in around April, May of 2001. And
How long had she been in Alabama?
About 3-4 months. So she calls me and asks me if I could possibly help her get a car, that she had a job and she needed transportation. So I called my banker and asked him if I could borrow some money to help my daughter buy a car. And he said, well, you already have a $1,500 note now. And I said, well, she agreed that if I could borrow the money, that she would also pay what I had owed, just so she could have transportation.
I don't understand that. Run that by me again.
I already owed $1,500. I had a note myself. I asked him if I could borrow an additional $2,700. He said, well, he could combine the two together, and the payments would be $202.29 for 24 months.
Go ahead.
This year in maybe February, March, I don't know when, she had an accident in a car, and her and her boyfriend had gone to Oklahoma, and she left the Oldsmobile down there and abandoned it. So
up until that time, she had made the car payments?
Yes.
And how much was she making in the car payments?
$202.29.
But that also included your note.
Right.
How much were you paying to the bank on your note, Ms. Sanchez?
I think mine was $85 a month.
So she paid $1,105 on your note.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
And so when she never did go get the car back, when me and my husband went over, it was a $250 deductible. Plus I had to have new tires put on it, and I had to have it all reconditioned.
And then what'd you do with it?
Well, I sold it on August 15th.
Okay, what did you sell it for?
For $2,200.
$2,200 for the car.
The payoff was 19-something.
Say $1,900. Mm-hmm. Now you had to put on new tires. And how much did you spend for new tires?
I spent $217. Then I had to have all new lug nuts on it. They were $32, $33.
How many payments did you make for her?
June, July. Because that she had the accident.
$672 so
she
far is what you owe your daughter. That's what you owe your daughter. She didn't owe you. You owe her. Now tell me about the furniture.
Okay, she has called me. She has been to my house already 4 times this year. She's always got an excuse that her and her boyfriend are fighting and all that. And the time before last that she called, she said that he said he loved her, but he couldn't stand her kids. And so she called me crying and asked me if she could come home. And she did. And she promised she wouldn't go back, but she did. So this last time that she came, I told her that I would help her any way that I could. And I had just refinanced my home, and I was going to have some extra money And I told her, I said, that I will help you get set up in an apartment. I will pay the deposit. I will help you get the furniture that you need to set it up for you and the boys if you're willing to stay here in Gainesville and not go back to him. Oh, I'm not going back, Mom, I promise. So I bought her a sofa and love seat. It was a TV and VCR that was bought. I paid $150 down deposit on the apartment for her. I have all the stuff here.
And then she went back to the boyfriend?
Yes, she did.
So how long did she stay in the apartment that you lived in?
She never moved in, Your Honor. She went and got the cashier's check and cashed it back in for the money.
Did you cash the check that your mother gave you for a down payment on an apartment?
No, I put the deposit.
What cash did your mother give you for the apartment?
She didn't give me any cash. I put the deposit. I have the receipt. It's in my name and everything.
Did you? Yes, I wrote her a check, Your Honor, for $150 cash because they wouldn't take a personal check at the apartment complex. I gave her a $150 check. She went to the bank, and while she's in the bank, she filled it out into her name, so that way she could get it back.
I believe your mother. I believe your mother. Don't lie. You know, I mean, so far, you're in pretty good shape. Your mother owes you $672. But don't lie to me, because that makes me feel stupid. Did your mother give you a check for $150?
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
Your Honor, I love my daughter.
Just a minute. I got it. I got the drill. No, I got the drill. What other cash did you give her?
I bought the sofa and love seat for her.
Forget about the sofa and love seat. According to what you just testified to me, you said to her, I'm going to help you get set up, but you have to promise me you're not going to go back to this jerk. And she said to you at the moment, I promise you I'm never going to go back to this jerk.
Yes, sir.
The other part of what you would have to say in order to make that kind of an agreement is, that's binding is, and if you go back to him, you must return to me the furniture or the value of the furniture. Do you understand?
Well, I did say that at one time.
Well. But that's not what you told me. You told me what the conversation was with her. How old are your children?
7 and 5.
Now, Mr. Dreamboat, is he the father of either of these children?
No, ma'am.
What kind of work does he do?
Excuse me?
What word didn't you understand that I just said?
He doesn't work.
Does he not work because he is in some way physically challenged?
No, ma'am. He has. We're trying to file for disability for him.
So he's in some way physically challenged?
He has to have surgery, but since he's older, he can't have tubes in his ear. He has drainage that cause real bad migraines.
How much older is he than you are?
He's 34.
A 34-year-old unemployed somebody who wants to put drains in his ears because he gets headaches and he can't work. Let me ask you this question. And you know, I've been around the block a couple of times. How many times have you called the police with regard to domestic violence in your home? Make sure that I get a correct answer.
1 time.
It'd take a lot for you to call the police to come to your house because...
No, ma'am.
Really not? You mean there was just a little yelling?
No, he yelled at me and I called the police because he was throwing things.
He was being violent around your 2 children who are how old? 5 and 7.
Yes, ma'am.
And he's not the father of those 2 children.
No, ma'am.
How many times have you had to move away because of him?
2 times.
How old are you?
25.
Do your 5 and 7-year-old sons have the same father?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Is he employed?
Yes, ma'am.
Does he have any communication with the children?
No, ma'am.
Is that by his choice?
Yes, ma'am.
Another idiot. So now you're 24, 25, and have chosen 2 losers that I know about.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You want to be a bum magnet. That's your problem. Grow up.
And later today,
all the walls were torn out.
We had talked about it months before.
He said it was the spur of the moment, his exact words.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Ann Sanchez says her daughter, Felicia Ruiz Mendoza, owes for an unpaid car loan. Ann says Felicia abandoned the vehicle out of state.
You can't do this anymore. I don't care if you never have a boyfriend the rest of your life. Either that, or take your 2 sons, get down on your knees, beg your mother, say, listen, I made a mistake. Could you please take care of your grandsons? But you're going from one place to another place to another place, going from one loser to another with 2 little boys who are the innocents. Why do you want to do that? I mean, you have a counterclaim that your mother assaulted you when you told her you were leaving again?
I didn't.
I don't even want to hear the story. It's a good thing you got a hair left in your head. She doesn't want you, who she loves, or especially 2 innocent grandchildren, to keep going through this migrant lifestyle that you've selected for your children. It's terrible. You made car payments on the car for a year, $200 a month. That's part of your counterclaim. Where can you rent a car for less than $200 a month? Anywhere? In the world?
No, ma'am.
Not as far as I know. So you don't get that back. The next part of your counterclaim is that your mother called Child Protective Services on you.
Yes, ma'am.
Probably with good cause. From what I hear and from my life's experience, probably with good cause. You called Child Protective Services?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and what did you tell them?
I told them that I was worried about my two grandsons, that they were living in a real bad area in town, and that both of them had a drinking problem, and they have the kids in the car going up and down the highway all the time. In October 2000, they were also called because the children were left in the house alone while she was out running around somewhere. She left them in the care of a small little girl.
This 34-year-old with the tubes in his ears, he has a drinking problem?
Yes, they both do.
Both do.
All the time they're drinking. I mean, they don't buy cans, they buy the big quarts.
Your children here today in court?
No, ma'am.
Where are they?
They're at home.
With whom?
With Carlos.
Carlos isn't well enough to be employed, but he's well enough to watch your two sons?
Yes, ma'am.
Other than watching your two sons, does Carlos have any biological children of his own?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you know that? I knew that. So at least there's something about Carlos that works. How old are his children?
He, 12, 11, and 10, or 9.
So this bum isn't paying any child support either because he's got tubes in his ears. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you getting my drift?
Yes, ma'am.
You better grow up. You made two babies. They are innocent. You're guilty. If you brought them into the world, and you brought them into the world with somebody who's not interested in being their father, then it's your responsibility to be both mother and father to them. And you're not supposed to introduce them to another person who's a bum. You want to be a bum magnet. That's your problem. But you have two children. And if you want to be a bum magnet, then you have to do the right thing and you have to turn over custody of your children to your mother. I mean, how do you know that Carlos isn't home right now drinking a big brew and sitting around and watching television or doing whatever he's doing? How do you know that?
I don't.
You don't. You don't know whether he's hitting them. You don't know whether he's angry with them. You don't know whether he's locking them in a closet. You don't know whether he's drunk. You don't know what the hell he's doing. And that's better off for your children than being with their grandmother. Grow up! Your counterclaim's dismissed. So is your claim. And I want to tell you something. You have a responsibility. If you believe that your grandsons are being neglected, you have a responsibility to petition for custody in a family court. Now, you may not get it, but if you don't at least take that step and something happens to your grandsons, you're going to be sorry for the rest of your life. Do you understand? That's all. Bye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I thought the judge was fair. Like I said, it wasn't about money. It was about principle. How you try to help your children and the way they stab you in the back, more or less.
You were having a party?
It was more like a get-together. I wouldn't say it was a huge party.
How many people were at the house?
8, I believe.
8, including you and your husband?
My husband wasn't there at that time. Including me, it was about 8.
But your husband was also present in the house that night?
Yes, he came in around 2 a.m.
And he was a co-worker of yours?
Yes.
Where do you work, sir?
We work at a place called Nielsen Media Research.
How long have you worked together?
About 2 months now. We started at the exact same time. We were in the same training class, and that's how we got to be acquainted with one another.
Where did you work before that, Mr. Massey?
Actually, right before this, I worked at a place called Publishers Printing for 2 or 3 months. But the drive, I don't drive, and my mom was having to take me, and it was just too much trouble. This place is like 1 mile from the Hamptons.
Great. Okay, Miss Mason, tell me about the theft from your house.
That night when I had went to bed, the money was on my bookcase. I woke up in the morning, I'm going to say about 8:30. He had come in my room. He had stayed in our guest room because he had just fallen asleep there. And he came in and we were talking.
And where was your husband?
He was downstairs doing laundry.
Go ahead.
And I had just, gotten up out of my bed and I went downstairs to get a sweatshirt. But when I had went down the stairs, my money was there. I saw my bookcase, which was right next to my bedroom door. I saw it. And when I came back up, he had met me on the top of my stairs. So I didn't go back into my room before we left. And when I came back home, my money was gone.
Came back home when?
From dropping him off, taking him home.
And what time was that?
Between 10 and 10:30 a.m.
How many people live in your home?
Me, my husband, and my son.
How old is your son?
He's 4.
Okay. I read your complaint very carefully, Miss Mason. Your complaint says, by 4 a.m. everyone was gone, so I went up to my room. I made sure that the $500 I had been saving for his cell phone and Christmas shopping was still nudged between the book and a box of magic erasers. The money was folded in half, and the corner was visible to the eye.
Yes.
This says you did this at 4 o'clock in the morning, not at 8 o'clock in the morning when you said he came into your room.
I did. I checked my money at 4. That's when I went to bed. And I got up at 8, and it was still there.
Well, you don't say that you checked it here at 8. You said that you checked it at 4. I didn't understand, madam, why anyone would have a party at their house and leave money at a place where you would see the money if you were hiding it. If you're hiding money, you hide money so that you don't see it. You put it in a certain place so it would be safe. right?
Yes.
So I didn't understand why you would put it someplace where it would be safe and let a corner of the money stick out.
It wasn't so much that I was hiding it from anybody. Nobody should have been in my room.
All right, let's move on. So what you're saying is the reason you believe that the defendant stole your money is because he had access to it, and as far as you knew, he was the only one who was there in between the times that you saw it, present and missing.
Yes.
You have any other proof that he stole your money?
My mother had spoken with him on the phone.
Good morning.
Your daughter says that you spoke to the defendant about this.
I did, Your Honor.
May I interject for a moment, Judge?
No.
Okay. I was saying...
No.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I spoke to the defendant about 3 or 4 days after that. I said to him, I know you stole the money out of the home. He said I didn't. He denied it. I kept telling him, you did take that money out of that home. He said that he did not take it, but he did.
Okay. Did he say anything else?
No. He just told me he did.
Okay, man, when this woman called me, first of all, she never identified herself as Laura's mom.
I don't care. Why are you responding so? The woman didn't inculpate you at all in this crime. Why are you so insistent upon responding?
Okay, it's just that she called up and told me she was a police officer and said that she was, you know, this and that.
She has difficulty.
Clearly.
You have been arrested, Mr. Massey?
Yes.
For what?
DUIs.
How many?
3. That's why I don't drive. I walk to work.
Is that why you don't drive?
Yeah.
Okay. Other than DUIs, have you ever been arrested for anything else?
I have.
Is not an answer.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Drug, like marijuana.
When?
2004.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
So, you drink too much and you smoke a little marijuana?
Well, yeah, I did.
You did? You don't anymore?
No.
Ever been arrested for theft?
Nope, never.
What kind of money do you earn?
$8.50 an hour.
Who do you live with?
I live with my mom. Because when I got my DUIs, I had to go to jail for a little while, so I had to move back with my mom. I'd owned a house and everything else, but, you know, that just, you get locked up, you lose that stuff.
Okay. Miss Mason, it's possible that Mr. Massey took your money. It's possible, but you have to prove it.
Well, he did admit it to my mom.
No, that's not what she said at all. She said he kept denying it. Your mother never.
He admitted it.
I was on a three-way phone call with
members. Listen to me. She testified.
Yes.
I heard her. You have to have proof that he's a thief. Now, it's possible that he took your money. It's also possible that somebody else who was there took your money.
No.
Well, according to you, you had at least 8 people coming in and out of your house. That's what happens.
Yes.
Sometimes money gets taken. And it is possible that Mr. Massey is one of the people who was there, took your money. But there's insufficient proof for me to feel comfortable to label him a thief. Thank you. That's all. The case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Her husband came home, caught her in bed with another dude when I was there.
My husband knows what I do. I'm not worried about it.
He was fall down drunk at the end of the night.
I think he's been smoking a little bit too much.
There's real wacky stuff going on.
A little one too many brain cells might be completely dead.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Estes versus French. Step forward, please.
Patricia Estes is suing neighbor Lori French for the cost of a peacock and for damage to her property.
Miss Estes, you claim that Miss French's dogs killed your pet peacock.
Yes.
And you want to be compensated. And Miss French says that there is absolutely no proof that her dogs killed your pet peacock. You live in a relatively rural area. There are lots of animals that are the same. Okay. When did this allegedly happen?
It's March the 3rd of this year.
Was the peacock in an enclosed fence?
Yes. Let me show you, give you a copy of the map and show you on our map.
Or could I have a copy of Miss Estes' map?
And Mrs. French, if she wants to.
I love people who are prepared. Could you give her a copy, too, so she can follow along?
Sure.
Again.
You're welcome.
Good.
I live at the end of a dirt road, and this is my house here. I'm on 5 acres. And there's a fence around my yard, the inner yard. Mrs. French's dogs, they live 2 parcels down. It's not like we're right next to each other. And my neighbor across the street, who I have today as a witness, that saw what happened, and she lived right across from me.
Okay. Got it. Would you step up, please? Tell me your name.
My name's Corey Kell.
Tell me what you observed on the 3rd of March.
I take my kids to school at around 8:30, 8:45 every morning. Came right back, and when I came back, Mrs. French's dog had her peacock in its mouth.
That is not a true statement that she's just made.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So you brought the dogs inside and then went to work?
Right.
Well, somebody let them out.
Yes.
I mean, you don't have to be a genius to figure that out. Animal control doesn't spend their time going into people's yards stealing their dogs.
And later today.
Did you call your father to ask him to bail you out? It's not an answer.
I didn't.
She didn't ask me. She...
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Patricia Estes claims her peacock was killed by Lori French's dog.
What kind of dog was it that you saw attack her bird?
I don't know what kind. It's a mixed dog. It looks like a cross between a German Shepherd and a Lab. It's short-haired.
And there's no question in your mind that the dog that you saw, you had seen before?
100% sure. On Thanksgiving of last year, we had our family up, and we took a walk, and we actually met Miss French, and I met all of her dogs at that time, which was 4 months prior to this. Her dogs are always running up and down our road, getting in the way, trying to get in my yard every time I leave my house.
So the dogs are out. Why do your dogs get out, Miss French?
My dogs are in my yard. I have never seen my dogs out of my yard. She's saying that my dogs are in her yard with her 4 vicious Labradors.
No, that's not what she's saying at all.
She said that she just saw my dogs in her yard.
She said they're running up and down the road.
Well, I beg to differ that.
Okay.
I have some pictures that shows their house with the gate open and their dogs in front of the house.
Can I see it, please?
Inside their yard.
Can I see it, please? Were your dogs picked up by animal control on December 7th, Miss French? The answer is either yes or no.
Yes.
Where were they picked up?
I do not know. On that morning at 7 a.m., it was about 22 degrees that morning. I had brought my dogs into the home, and I had consequently gone to work about 10 o'clock that morning. When I returned, there was a note on my gate that said my dogs had been picked up by animal control.
Who else lives in your house?
I have 2 daughters, well, 3
How old
daughters
are
actually. 20-year-old, a 22-year-old, and a 5-year-old, and my husband.
So there are other adults in the house?
Yes.
So you brought the dogs inside and then went to work?
Right.
Well, somebody let them out.
Well,
Miss French, somebody let them out.
Yes.
I mean, you don't have to be a genius to figure that out. Animal control doesn't spend their time going into people's yards stealing their dogs.
Correct.
Oh, good. So we know that your dogs have gotten out, and it's probably not the first time they've gotten out. Somebody in your household isn't responsible, Miss French. You're responsible for this peacock.
Do I get to...
You aren't home. You don't know what happened. Only she knows. She's
yes,
an
but I
eyewitness.
do have some... well, her house, according to this, is not even in the correct position.
I don't care what's not in the position. I have to rely on what she says. There is no reason for me to disbelieve what she says to me, because after she saw it, she reported it to the plaintiff. So there is no reason for me to disbelieve her. You, on the other hand, were not home. Right. Now, I'm prepared to hear you.
Okay.
I'm prepared to hear you, but I'm telling you that I believe what she says, that she saw a dog that she has identified as your dog, which she has seen numerous times because she has spoken to you. You've introduced her to your dogs, according to her, and I absolutely believe her.
Okay.
So I'm
the woman I
prepared to
met
hear.
was a blonde. So
listen to me. You know, I used to be a blonde too.
Okay.
Let's go. Let's go.
I found the neighbor's boxer in my yard on that Saturday, December 9th, chasing my livestock and my horses. I yelled at her. She left the yard. 15 minutes later, the neighbor that's in between our 2 homes. 15 minutes later, I come back, and that dog is still chasing my livestock. I had to physically take her to the neighbor's home and put her back in the yard.
What does that have to do with this incident? Yeah. This is not a boxer. A boxer is not a husky.
I'm saying that I have livestock that have disappeared. Out of my yard, she's saying that she's... I would like to know even what dog she's accusing of doing this, because I haven't even got that.
Yeah. Well, maybe she'll tell you. Go ahead.
The one that looks like a German Shepherd lab mix with short hair.
You have a picture of that dog?
It's in the pictures there that you have, Your Honor.
Did you give her the identify the dog that she's talking about?
This one right there. Yeah, the short-haired one. I also have a report.
This one? Mm-hmm. Okay. Show it to the defendant. Can I see the report from Animal Control while he's showing that to the defendant?
Yes, she said that I've admitted to Animal Control that my dogs did this. I have not spoken to Animal Control, even after numerous attempts to contact them.
Animal Control says that they returned several times. No one was at home. That's to your house. And each time they were there, they left a notice. According to the Animal Control person, I have been unable to make contact with the suspect dog owner to resolve this matter. In any event, I'm satisfied, Miss French, that it was your dog that was responsible for the dead peacock. Now,
well, I have excuse me.
Miss French, your dog killed the peacock.
Well, I have incidents documented.
Period.
2 dogs that look very similar to my dogs that have roamed this neighborhood.
And that's unfortunate for your dogs. Your dogs were just picked out of a lineup. What was the cost of the peacock?
$450 for a male peacock with full tail feathers.
Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $450. That's all.
Jennifer Richardson says her estranged mother-in-law, Sandra Richardson, refuses to hand over title on a car she bought from her. Sandra is countersuing, claiming Jennifer stole appliances from her home.
Miss Richardson, this is your soon-to-be ex-mother-in-law, and I assume that sitting in a witness chair is your soon-to-be ex-husband.
Yes.
Okay. According to you, you purchased a home for your son and his wife, and the idea was that you and your husband were going to live with them. Unfortunately, your husband became ill and passed away.
The house was originally bought for us.
Yes, the house was originally
with
bought.
our money.
No, I'm sorry, Your Honor.
No, it was your money.
Well, can I just say something? If she wants to lie about
just a second.
10,000.
Just a second. Who paid the mortgage on the house?
I did. It was in my name.
I didn't ask you if it was in your name. I said who paid the mortgage.
For the first 8 months, my husband and I did. When they moved in, they shared the responsibility.
That's what I gathered. The first several months, you and your husband were making the mortgage payments on the house, and then you and your husband moved in, and then you split the mortgage payments, right?
Yeah.
But the house was purchased for them, and they were there alone for a period of time. Anyway, that house is really not the issue unless we get to the council. Don't interrupt me. House isn't really the issue until we get to the council claim. We're going to talk about the house in a moment. This has to do with the car that you purchased in your name, but that your daughter-in-law used. But your daughter-in-law used it to take you around from place to place, all your appointments. She sort of chauffeured you around. Anyway, there came a time when you left the house. And shortly after you leaving the house, your daughter-in-law and son split up.
Right.
Your daughter-in-law went home to her family. Where do you live now?
That's not what happened.
Where do you live now?
I live with my mother.
In what state?
In Florida.
And where do you live?
Michigan.
Okay. Did you take the car with you?
At what
Where
time?
is the car now?
My husband has it.
Okay. It is your claim that you wanted the car, and your mother-in-law said you have to pay for it. You were annoyed that she said that you had to pay for it because you always thought it was your car, but you sent her $3,000. She doesn't deny that you sent her the $3,000, but she never sent you the title to the car and never sent you the car. So you want something. You want either the car or you want your $3,000. Mother-in-law says the $3,000 was for other bills that were outstanding. And in addition, she's counterclaiming because she says when you moved out of the house, you took her property, some appliances and things that belonged to her. So I'm going to cut right to the chase. Mrs. Richardson, since you acknowledge that your daughter-in-law sent you $3,000, what did she send you the money for?
I asked for $5,000 for the car. She sent me $3,000. They owed me like $6,000 just back rent, so I don't figure the car is paid for.
Wrong. If you asked $5,000 for the car and she sent you $3,000, you can't offset that. Get the money that they owe you from rent from your son. Get it from him, not from her.
May I speak?
When it's your turn.
Okay. She stole $20,000 worth of appliances and stuff.
Listen to me.
Home.
When you purchased this house, for the first 8 months, where she and your son lived there, were the appliances in the house?
There was old appliances. I purchased all brand new appliances.
And when you went home, after your husband died, when you left, in what month was that?
Around May, about the middle of May.
Of 06? And when did the two of you split up?
August.
And between May of 06 and August of 06, where were the appliances?
They were in the home when I left.
And where did you go? From Florida back to Michigan?
Michigan.
And what did you take with you when you went?
I took a clock, my big TV, left leather furniture, all the appliances, everything in the home when I left because it cost me so much to move all the stuff. So I left it for actually for the kids.
Absolutely right. So it was a gift. So let me explain something to you, Miss Richardson. Don't get involved between your son and your daughter-in-law. The courts will determine if she took marital property, because once you made a gift to them, you didn't make a gift to your son. Listen to me.
Okay.
You made a gift to them. You left it when you moved back to Michigan in May. You left it as a gift for the kids. And if they had stayed together as husband and wife, they would have had all the appliances. The problem is they split up. And then you said, well, I don't want her. She's a stranger to me now. She can't take this property. I bought it. It was a gift. Once you give a gift, you can't have sticky fingers. You can't say, well, it's a gift, but I'm going to hold on to it.
But I bought it as myself because I lived there.
I don't care. When you left it there. And you didn't abandon it along with the leather sofa. You took what you wanted. You took a grandfather clock. You took other things that were important to you. And you left the other things there for your children. Then, so it therefore became marital property.
She had no reason to steal it, though.
She didn't steal it. It was a gift.
It wasn't really a gift.
Well,
It
Miss
was 'cause I
Richardson,
lived
I'm
there.
trying to explain to you, madam, you're not getting what the law is.
Okay.
That's the law. And if your son, during the course of the divorce proceedings, says, well, she took this marital property and she had no right to take the marital property, our judge will decide that. But it's not yours. You can't sue for it. You gave it away. You gave it away to them. And as between the two of them, a court will determine whose property it was, whether she cleaned out the house or whether she didn't. But it's not yours anymore. You gave it away. Let's get to the car. When did you tell your daughter-in-law that you wanted $5,000 for the car?
Before I left the home.
So that was in May of 06. Is that what she told you in May of 06? You wanted $5,000?
Husband and I discussed it, and I told him I don't feel I owe her anything for this car. I have been a personal slave to her, driven her anywhere she's asked me to go.
Well, listen to me.
broken in
Don't speak. Just because you think that doesn't make it the law. Car is titled in her name. You took her where she had to go. You also used it for yourself when you had to go to, I don't know, bowling, Pilates, hairdresser appointment, whatever. Right. You took the car yourself. So, in exchange for that, you had a car. And what you did was you drove your mother-in-law around. When you weren't driving her around, you were using it yourself. So whether you thought that you were entitled to it or not, that's totally irrelevant. She said she wanted $5,000 for the car. You go back to Florida. When did you have a discussion with her and send her $3,000?
My husband and I discussed it, and I said, all I can get is $3,000.
Where did you get the $3,000 from? Look at me. Don't look down there.
My mother obtained a loan.
When?
It would be late May, and I made the deposit in June 20th.
Before you and your husband separated?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you gave her a check in late May for the $3,000.
Well, she was gone, so we deposited the check into her bank account, and we gave her the mortgage money as well. You'll see it's $4,000.
No. That has nothing to do with it. She already told me. She wanted $5,000. You sent her $3,000. She considered it for other bills. She can't do that. Where's the title to the car?
The original title was destroyed.
And here's what I paid for the car.
Can be destroyed?
Here, ma'am.
Lost in the mail.
What?
Lost. She took my mail for 6 months. I spent $80,000 on that house.
Who's living in it?
It's empty. I can't even sell it.
Just a second. Who's living in it?
Nobody's living in it.
Why isn't he living in it?
He lives here in Michigan with me now.
Oh, well.
But I just lost.
Because if I'm down there, she makes my life miserable.
Listen to me.
$80,000.
I'm not speaking to you.
Okay.
I'm not speaking to you.
Sorry.
If your mother's out some money, get a job and make sure she's whole. Miss Richardson, you cannot take her money. That money was for the car. That's what it was for. That was before they separated, so that you went back to Michigan, right, without the car.
Right.
And she got the money from her mother. This is her car. It is not your car. Don't get in between your son and his wife if they're in the process of divorcing.
So this $80,000 that she's actually I spent, I know she got money, she kept my mail, she run my cell phone up to $1,000.
Listen to me. Listen to me. You could sue her for certain things, but you can't keep this money. And if you spent $80,000, you spent $80,000 on your son, not on your daughter-in-law. You spent $80,000 on your son, because but for your son, listen, if she came to you and you didn't know her from a hole in the wall and she wasn't married to your son, you wouldn't have spent a quarter on her. You spent the money because you wanted your son to be comfortable. And if he was married to this lady, well, she's the beneficiary of that. So the house isn't in her name. The house is in your name.
I'm losing that, too. So.
Well, sell it. Meanwhile, you have to sign the title to the car over to her, because the car belongs to her. You accept the money for it?
It's not paid for.
What do you mean it's not paid for?
$3,000 isn't $5,000.
Listen to me. You said you wanted $5,000 to them before you left. There was conversations that took place between the three of you. There's no question in my mind about that. There is also no question in my mind that you accepted the $3,000 in payment for the car because you took it and you spent it. It wasn't until 3 months later, when they separated, that you said, well, that money was for other things. No.
So she
doesn't go that way. This is her car.
Trouble.
And don't put yourself in the middle of these two people. You spent money. It's unfortunate. The marriage didn't work out. The marriage didn't work out, and it's over. And there were certain things that she took appliances from the house. I'm sure that there were certain things that your son took. What did you take from the house, sir? Stand up next to your mother and just answer my questions. Now that you moved back to Michigan, what did you take with you or sell?
Nothing. She emptied the house.
Don't listen to me. She didn't empty the house.
Yeah.
She took the appliances, according to your mother.
Emptied it. My clothes, every personal belonging I had premarital. She emptied the house. I came back to an empty house. My mom blew $80,000.
Just a second. Did you take everything from the house?
Yes.
Everything.
Just a second. Shh. Don't speak. Did you take everything from the house?
Not every single thing, no.
Yes, she did.
Don't speak. What did you take from the house?
I took whatever I would need to have the kids having the same normal life they had before.
How many children do you have?
2.
How old are they?
One to be 12 and one to be 5.
Don't speak. Don't speak. Where were you living in Michigan?
When I moved out,
Where did you go?
I didn't have a home.
So where did you go?
I went to a friend's home.
Boyfriend.
And it's going to be over. Do you understand? It's going to be over. What state do you live in now?
Florida.
Which is where you lived as a marital couple?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Why did you move back to Michigan when you have 2 children in Florida?
Because she was trying to get me put in jail. She stole everything. She come into my motel room and took my pool stick, and I'm a professional pool player.
Listen to me.
After she emptied the house, took my dad's wedding band he wore for 43 years that's worth $20. It's 10-karat gold that belongs to my mother. All 9 of my pool sticks. All my clothes, 3 different cell phones that she came to my hotel room to get in my hotel room to take the stuff, and I filed a
police report. I asked you a question, sir. The question is a simple one.
The
question is
That's why I moved.
The question is a simple one. How do you move clear across country when you have 2 children?
Because there's a lady that's trying to put me in jail and comes to where I am when I try to ignore her to steal things I have. Excuse me.
Let us sign over the car, please. I would run away from him, too.
Really?
Sign it. The car belongs to her. It's your problem how to get it, but the car belongs to her.
She should owe me $1,000 for cell phones that she stole.
Then sue her for the cell phones.
Well, where am I going to do that at? I mean, she steals and took money, took my checks for 6 months and taken my money out of the bank and everything.
Give the title to the car. That's what she wants. Counterclaim is dismissed. Very unfortunate situation. You got yourself in the middle of something. You have 2 grandchildren. You should never do that, madam. When you have 2 grandchildren, listen to me. You have 2 grandchildren.
I don't see them.
Excuse me?
I won't see them either. She's the one.
She wouldn't let her see her grandchildren when they live together.
I'm telling you something. You're not paying attention. You're not paying attention. You have a son who I've only met for a short period of time. He's not wrapped too tight. But you're the grandmother. You're the grandmother. And if you have 2 grandchildren, I don't know if he's your only child or not, or if you have other children. If he's your only child, I sort of get it. So that these are your only 2 grandchildren. I would not have gotten into a situation with her where you end up in court. Just pay attention. Don't look at him with rose-colored glasses. You have to know who your children are. You have to be fair. You have to be dispassionate. She may not be perfect, but you have to know who your children are. You got it?
Yes.
Goodbye. Mrs. Kennedy, this is your former husband, and it is your claim that he owes you some money for some bills that came up after your divorce papers had been filed and therefore were not resolved in the judgment of divorce. That is correct. That's pretty much your claim. Your husband says that these bills that you're asking for are petty, that he took care of the home and the children for 4 months after you left with absolutely no support from you, and the least you could do is pay for the electric.
That's correct.
When did the 2 of you separate?
We separated in August of 2005.
And I gather from what Mr. Kennedy says that you left the home.
I didn't leave the home until the sale of the home, which was in April of 2006.
In August 2005, were you living together?
Yes.
In September of 2005, were you living together?
Correct.
Mr. Kennedy, you said your wife left. When did she leave?
April 2006.
When she left in April of 2006, where were the children?
With me.
For how long?
Until July, I believe it was 19th of 2006.
And where were you?
I had moved to a different residence approximately 4 blocks away with my 2 oldest children from a previous relationship.
And you were there with 4 children?
3.
3. How old were they?
Now they're 13, 9, and 7.
And who do they live with now?
They live with Carrie now.
Is that by agreement?
Yes.
And you pay child support?
I do.
How much?
Roughly $600 a month.
Is that correct?
That is correct. However, Your Honor, he wasn't paying child support until ordered by a judge and until his wages were garnished. For almost a year and a half, he did not pay child support.
Is that right, sir?
Correct. I wasn't working at the time.
I don't care. That's irrelevant to me. And I'm sure it was irrelevant to the court that you weren't working. Why weren't you working?
I guess I just couldn't find a job.
When you have 3 children, you find a job. You're an intelligent man. You know that. Okay, so then I'm less sympathetic with you, Mr. Kennedy. You see, I was getting sympathetic because if Mrs. Kennedy leaves and she leaves you with 3 children and she sends you no child support, I sort of feel as if $1,100 is those circumstances. But if you didn't pay any child support for over a year because you decided not to work, that's a lot longer than 3.5 months.
Correct, but I would pick up the children throughout the week, provide for them what I could. When I had a job, I'd give her half of whatever I made.
And you mean at the times when you weren't providing them with support and she was taking care of 5 children, she was supposed to say to the kids, we're not eating lunch today because Dad's not working and whatever I do. Do you work?
I do work, Your Honor.
What kind of work do you do?
I work for a promotions department. I organize events through the county.
Same job for how long?
Almost a year and a half.
Okay. When you left in April of 2006, according to your complaint, he was supposed to take the electric bill out of your name.
Correct.
Is that your agreement?
That is correct.
Well, that's what she's stuck with. She's stuck with that bill. That's what she's asking you for.
Initially, it was supposed to come to me. And I had contacted the electric company, told them I'd have to make payments on that. That wasn't good enough for them, so they decided to tack it onto her bill at her new house.
So then you owe, just a second, so you owe her that money. How much does he owe you for the electric?
$699.99, and that's not exactly how it went. He stayed in the house that we once shared, rented it from the new owner, couldn't continue paying the rent on it, and left. Moved in with a friend, left no forwarding address, and to my understanding made no contact to the electric company to get the bill resolved. And that's how it got transferred to me.
Fine, $699.99. It's yours. Let's go on to the income taxes, which is a far more interesting subject. Go ahead.
Income taxes. These are from the year of 2003 when Kevin was employed full-time and I was the stay-at-home mom. Apparently when he was unemployed after we separated, I don't know if the state of California had tried to make contact with him, but they couldn't find him. They found me because I was working.
Can I see the tax bill? You know about this tax bill, Mr. Kennedy?
Through my ex-wife, I do.
And?
When I moved from the house that we shared, I had all my mail forwarded.
I'm not talking about the forwarding mail. I'm talking about this tax bill. It was money that clearly you were working full-time, correct?
Correct.
She was not employed outside of the home.
When we were together, no.
Did you owe child support for other children?
No.
A record show an outstanding child support obligation that has priority over your personal income tax liability.
Your Honor, I believe that's for the current child support he's owing back.
I see. The balance due here is $342.55. Did you pay it?
It's being garnished for my wages.
Show this to him, please. Have you ever seen that document?
I haven't read it. I just heard about it from her.
And he was given that information. He said he tried to make contact with them, but was on hold for too long.
I had my mail forwarded to a P.O. box. If they wanted to find me, they could have found me.
Maybe they did find you. Maybe you took it and threw it in the garbage. How do I know? It's your responsibility. Why didn't you pay it?
Because I didn't have the $300 and some to pay her.
Well, who are you living with now?
I live with some friends.
That's not a good enough answer for me. Who do you live with now? The names of the people that you live with.
Joshua and Tina. I think their last name is something like that.
How long have you lived with them?
4 months.
Are they a couple?
Yes. Yeah.
You know, why bother to get into it with you? You owe her $1,100. Mr. Kennedy, when you have 3 children, you can't afford to be unemployed unless you are mentally or physically unable to work, neither of which appears to be so in your case. So you have 3 children, you have to do whatever you can do. You get a hack license, you drive a cab, you pick up cans, you go to work for the Parks Department. You can't take the day off.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Since July of 2006, he's lived with 5 different people.
Sounds as if he's not doing too well.
He's not, Your Honor.
And later today.
They signed a lease.
They signed a lease that I was not aware of.
What difference does it make? That was your agreement with her. She's not your mother's payment. Thick.
Judge Judy. Carrie Kennedy says her ex-husband, Kevin Kennedy, owes for an electric bill, a cell phone bill, and for taxes from the state.
Okay. Now, did you get half the money from the house that was sold?
I did.
How much did you get?
I believe it was $32,000 or $36,000.
And how much did you get?
Approximately 20.
20.
That's incorrect, Your Honor. It was split right down the middle. You got half, I got half.
Why would she get more than you?
I agreed to give her more than I got because she was moving into a new place. And she complained to me that splitting it right down the middle wouldn't be fair to her.
Does that sound right?
He would not allow me to take anything out of the home that we had in the house, except for any personal items. He kept the refrigerators, the computers, TVs, everything else. I didn't get any of that until I took possession of the children in July of 2006 because he had nowhere to move and had to move in with his girlfriend. Since July of 2006, he's lived with, I'm approximating 5 different people.
Sounds as if he's not doing too well.
He's not, Your Honor, and it's just incredibly sad that my oldest daughter has had to move back home with me to help me pay the bills.
Judge for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,100. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
This money has been long owed to me, and I'm just glad it's done and over with.
I just hope there's no other bills that pop up that I have to be taken to court.
All parties in the matter of Mimsgrave versus Gilmore. Step forward.
19-year-old Brittany Mimsgrave is suing her former friend, Samantha Gilmore, for the return of money she paid to go on a cruise. Samantha says Brittany backed out at the last minute.
Miss Mimsgrave.
Yes.
Miss Gilmore was a friend of yours. You had been friends for a long time, according to what I read in your complaint. A group of girls decided to go on a trip. Where were you going?
We were going on a Mexican cruise.
For how many days?
A week.
And what was the cost to each girl?
It was $325 each.
Very reasonable for a whole week.
Yes.
Did they feed you on this trip for $325 for a week?
I actually don't know. I didn't go.
Do they feed you?
Yes, they do.
In any event, you paid Miss Gilmore your $325.
Yes.
She was making the arrangements. How old are you?
I'm 19.
And you?
19.
Am I correct that someone in the party had to be 21 in order for the girls to go?
Yes.
What you tell me in your complaint is that one of the girls, I believe her name was Ashley, was the 21-year-old. She backed out.
Yes.
So now you have a predicament. You've paid your $325, as have other girls, and unless you found someone else who was 21 years old, you couldn't go.
Yes.
So according to you, you waited for a while to see if somebody else was going to go and somebody else was going to go, and nothing happened, so you made other plans for that period of time. That's what you say. And according to you, Miss Gilmore decided to take her brother.
Yes, well, actually...
Decided to take her brother. He was going to pay for himself. And his brother had a friend whose name was?
Gaius.
Gaius?
Gaius Mike. He goes by Mike.
Good. His name was Mike. Mike went on your ticket.
Yes.
And you want the money.
Yes.
Didn't Mike pay?
No.
Why not?
Because we had made oral agreement that Mike was going to pay after the cruise, but Brittany showed up at my house the day before. We left saying that she wanted it then.
Just a minute. Who did Mike make the arrangement with? With you?
With me. He made with me and she made with me.
Just a second. So Mike made the arrangement with you that he was going to pay for the trip.
Yes.
And you told her that Mike was paying for the trip. That was your agreement with him.
Yes.
Now she's suing you because you told her you're going to get your money for this ticket. That's what you told her.
Yes.
Go get the money from Mike. She has no way of suing him because they did not have an agreement. The agreement was, you have a cause of action against him if he breached that agreement and didn't give you the money.
Yes, but since she had come to my house saying that she wanted the money earlier than she had expected, I figured if she felt that she needed the money before, even though he wasn't able to provide it for her, she should have called the travel agent herself and said that, because what she said was she wanted her ticket or the money.
Madam.
Ma'am.
She could have done this and she would have done that, and if she did this, she wouldn't have been in that chair. She had an agreement with you, and the agreement was you were going to give her back her money because your brother and his friend were going on this trip with you. And if the friend stiffed you, sue him. He went, he had a good time. I assume he ate, right? Well, I'm sure his company wasn't that terrific that entitled him to a free ride, right? Right, Mr. Gilmore? You wouldn't give him a free ride.
Ma'am, she canceled out at the very last minute.
Are you following me? Your daughter made an agreement with her that she would get her money back. She has to do that. Now, since she did not gain anything herself, perhaps, unless she likes Mike, she has an absolute right to turn around and sue Mike for the cost of the ticket because he promised to pay her, and he didn't. She may have had a lot of other options. She doesn't have to exercise all those other options. She had an agreement with your daughter. Do you get it?
Yes.
Good. Now, you have a counterclaim for harassment and the expenses surrounding harassment. Ms. Gilmore, you want to tell me about that?
Yes, when she had decided 4 days we had agreed that Mike was going to take her place. We had made the agreement that he was going to pay after, and she kept constantly calling saying that she wanted the money earlier, and I told her that I didn't have it and that Mike hadn't given it to me, and she kept calling me, harassing me, and showing up. She showed up at my house the day before saying she wanted the money or the ticket, and the option was that she'd call the travel agent and say that she wanted her place back because I didn't have the money. So she was constantly calling me, and then after she had left our house, she had called our mutual friend who also went inquiring about my car, wondering where my car was going to be where we went on the cruise, and I just bought a brand new car, so I was wondering why she wanted to know where my car was.
Just a second, how do you know Brittany called your friend?
My friend, the one who went on the cruise, told me.
Well, you can't tell me that, madam, that's hearsay.
Okay.
What else?
So, but basically she had called me constantly, leaving me messages, called me when I was
That's
at
what
work.
happens when she feels as if you were stiffing her money. That's not a cause of action for harassment. You have to give her the $325, and I suggest that you and your father, when you leave here, you go to small claims court and you sue Mike for the trip that he took, that he enjoyed, that so far he didn't pay for, right?
Right.
As between the two of you, you owe her $325. Do you understand?
Yes.
Good. Goodbye.
Cards are queued. You may step out.
She is getting the money, but hopefully she'll understand that it's from Mike.
I think it's very unfortunate that it had to end like this.
And not me, and that it wasn't worth the friendship, and it wasn't worth going to court over.
I mean, if someone's going to try and ruin a friendship over...
John White says co-worker Toriano Harris owes for injuring his eye. John says Toriano ripped his cornea when he tackled him at a party.
According to your complaint, sir, you were at a New Year's Eve party. Yes. Mr. Harris was at the same New Year's Eve party, and you claimed that he was pretty drunk, and while not intentionally, while horsing around, he seriously injured your eye.
True.
Mr. Harris says everybody was sort of fooling around and butting each other. He didn't injure you, you were just fine, and he questions whether or not he exacerbated this pre-existing eye injury that you had.
Right.
What time did you get to the party?
Probably around 12:30.
Who did you go with?
Kathy.
Where had you been before?
At another party.
Who was driving?
I was.
Were you drinking?
Yeah.
How come you were drinking and driving?
And got caught up in the celebrations.
Was she drinking?
No.
Why didn't you let her drive?
Wasn't thinking at the time.
How much had you been drinking?
Couple cups of champagne, maybe.
Whose party was this that you arrived at 12:30?
Another co-worker's, another friend.
What time did you arrive at the party?
It was a little before 12, about 11:30.
Where had you been previous to 11:30?
I live across the street, so I walked across the street to the party.
So you hadn't had any alcohol before 11:30?
Nope. Ma'am.
And what were you drinking between 11:30 and 12:30?
Had about 2 beers.
Who did you come to the party with?
By myself.
Were you by yourself the beginning part of the evening?
Yes, I was.
That sounds pretty lonely on a New Year's Eve, Mr. Harris.
Well, I had just got off work, and then I went home and found out it was a party across the street, and it was somebody who I work with. So I was invited, so I walked across the street.
Okay, so now that we've laid the foundation of this evening, you were there by yourself, you had a date, you arrived at 12:30, you arrived at 11:30, you were sober as a judge.
Yes, ma'am.
Before 11:30, after that, you had a couple of beers. Tell me what happened to 12:30 when you arrived, Mr. White.
I came in the house, I mingled a little bit, had some more drinks. Probably 45 minutes to an hour after that time of mingling. Mr. Harris here was just a little bit out of control. He was obviously way drunker than he said he was. He was so out of control that me and some of the other guests removed ourselves from the living room of the party to like the front porch, patio type area, holding the door, keeping him from coming in. He eventually got up on the patio where he continued his behaviors.
Describe his behavior to me, please.
Out of control is the only word I can use. He jumping around, spitting liquor at us, loud, screaming. He got down into like a football stance and just rushed me.
Describe that to me. Show me. What's a football stance?
Out here?
Yeah.
A football stance.
Okay, that kind of, okay. All right.
Brushed my legs, grabbed me by the legs, and I don't know if he was trying to put me in a wrestling move or just whatever, but as I was going down, his head hit my eye, causing the stitches that I had from a previous surgery to bust. And
what kind of surgery had you had on your eye?
I had a cornea transplant.
When?
September 20th.
You have the medical records for me?
Yes.
I'd like to see them, please. That's the injury that you're talking about, being bumped in the head by him and
Yes.
the stitches coming apart.
As
Did you go to the emergency room that day?
Yes, I did.
Who took you?
My friend here, Kathy. I actually went home to... Went back to
Kathy,
the
you have a
hospital.
last name. You took him to the emergency room?
Yes.
Immediately after being bumped in the head, did you leave the party?
Well, after I got hit in the eye, like I say, he took me to the ground. I think that was the initial impact. And once I was on the ground, he went for probably a headlock and came across my eye again, taking me back to the ground as I was getting up. And at that point, it was when I crawled to the bathroom, tried to wipe the little blood that I did have, and then I left the party.
How many surgeries did you have subsequent to this incident?
3.
Were you scheduled to have any other surgeries after
No.
the initial corneal transplant?
Right. I was doing...
You were doing
It was in
fine.
the period of my recovery process.
Okay, Mr. Harris, I'm going to hear you, sir.
We was at the party, we had a couple drinks. I had a couple drinks. I knew he was already there, and he was already drinking, because I can already tell the way he was talking.
You arrived first.
No, he arrived first.
No, you arrived first. You said you arrived at 11:30. They didn't arrive until 12:30.
No, he was there first before me.
Okay, keep going.
I already knew that he had been drinking because the way the slur of his speech he was talking. As the struck clock to 12, we all just was having fun. It was party, horse playing, high five. We bumped chests. Then all of a sudden, a buddy of mine had picked me up. I'm looking around like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? So then all of a sudden, he grabbed me. So when he grabbed me, I broke him off of me. And then he fell to the ground, I guess injuring his eye then. He was the aggressor. I wasn't the aggressor. He put his hands on me first.
Did you see what happened?
No, he did. I was in the other room. I'm the one who just witnessed.
Tell me your name, sir.
My name is Brian Dukes.
Do you know both of these gentlemen?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you known them?
About 3 years.
Both?
Yes.
Both nice people?
Yes, yes.
Okay. What time did you arrive at the party that night?
It was after midnight.
Were you out on the porch when this incident
Yes,
occurred?
ma'am.
Tell me what you saw, please.
I'm pretty much a witness to his pretty much out of control behaviors, Mr. Harris. He pretty, like Mr. White here said, he did get down, crouch down in a football stance and did attack Mr. White here.
Just describe to me what you saw. He got down in a football stance.
Football stance. Then he just rushed him, just grabbed his legs and took him down to the ground.
Did you assist him in cleaning up his eye?
No, ma'am.
You were just a guest at the party?
Yes.
Did you come with an escort?
No, ma'am.
Were you the only one with a date that night?
No. No.
Okay. I read your complaint that you had a video.
Yes.
Somebody was taking pictures of that
The
evening.
homeowner of the party actually was recording the whole incident.
I'd like to see it, please. Mr. Dukes, you can have a seat, sir.
Thank you.
This is the point here. This was like I said, well past 12:30. He's actually finna start spitting liquor at us. You can't hear it, but he's screaming, yelling, profanity, whatnot. This in the background. This the patio. Now this the patio area here where we at. That's the homeowner's friend, telling him that he needs to go, but he's not hearing anything. That's the charge. Right there you can see me holding my eye as I'm going back. And he jumps on me again. I'm trying to get up now. I brought back down. At this point here, this is where I told him, I didn't use these words, but you just messed my eye up. And he was like, all right, get up, I got you. I'm crawling off into the bathroom now. As he comes back out, he attempted to do this again, but he was stopped. This was a separate person here, separate incident. And so that's the homeowner there. At this point, she was just really fed up with him. That's him hitting the door, banging on her front door, glass door.
What you're supposed to say, Mr. Harris, is, I drank too much, I was an idiot. I'm sorry I hurt you, and I'm going to pay your bills. You're not supposed to make excuses, sir. Have you seen this video before?
No.
You've never seen it before?
Never seen it
Why
before.
didn't you show him this video before? Maybe then he would understand the nature of his actions.
In this process, I reached out to him twice, not asking him to pay the bills, just to help him. Like I said, we have been friends for some time. I knew that he didn't just have his money in his pocket, but if he would have just assisted... No, I don't. But if he had just assisted with the help, we probably wouldn't be here.
I'm waiting.
If he knew that his eye was messed up, why would he come to a party and have fun anyway? I mean, but you know, sometimes when you're at a party, everybody get, you know, everybody horseplay. At least they do where I'm from.
You want to take this one, or what do you want me to do?
I don't know. There are good questions and there are bad questions. That's a bad question.
You know that if you have some delicate surgery, the chances of that surgery becoming infected, inflamed, that can become dislodged, that happens. Is what you're suggesting, sir, that if you have this kind of surgery, you stay in your room? You work at a place where I assume sometimes it gets physical.
Exactly.
Is that right?
Yes.
That's his job. So he has to go to work. And you take care as best as you can to make sure that the people that you're working with don't hurt you. Don't exacerbate a condition that already exists. When you go to a New Year's Eve party, you expect to have a little bit of alcohol, sometimes, and sometimes you even expect people to act stupid. You don't expect them to act very stupid. And when you act very stupid, Mr. Harris, and you hurt somebody, you have to be responsible and pay for it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me ask you this question, sir. You live across the street from this party.
Yes, ma'am.
You were pretty drunk.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me give you this scenario. You're walking back to your house, and you're pretty drunk, and you're not looking where you were going. And a car is coming down the street. They're perfectly fine. Nobody's drinking in that car. They're driving. But you dart out into the middle of the street, and that car swerves to avoid you. And the people in that car are seriously injured because they hit a tree. Are you going to tell me that you think on New Year's Eve people shouldn't drive their cars because drunks sometimes walk in the middle of the road? That's the same kind of philosophy that you're trying to sell me when you say, listen, when you go to a New Year's Eve party, everybody gets drunk and they horse around. You can horse around without being an idiot. Would you like to show your boss that video?
I don't want to show nobody the video.
Well, you should have thought of that before you came here, Mr. Harris. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Diana Maddox is suing her ex-boyfriend, Charles Darnell, for the return of Christmas gifts she left in his home. Charles says the gifts went missing.
Ms. Maddox, according to your complaint, you dated the defendant for many months. And the beginning of December of last year, you went Christmas shopping together. You purchased some items, some of which you left at his house. Those items that you left in his house, according to you, were Christmas presents for your grandchildren.
Yes.
And some other items. Sometime in mid-December, you broke up. And you claim that Mr. Darnell refuses to give you back the property that you left at his house. Mr. Darnell says that he has none of your property, that you must have come to the house to get it because you had a key to the house, and after you broke up, you came home, found your stuff gone. So he assumes that you took the Christmas presents and that one of the items that you're suing for is a welder.
Yes.
And the welder, he says, was a gift to him from you.
No.
So let's start with the welder so that would make things easy. When Mr. Darnell did you get the welder?
Sunday, December 3rd.
Now, was that a Christmas present?
Yes, it was.
Okay, tell me the circumstances surrounding that, Mr. Darnell.
We had went Christmas shopping. I had previously, on November 24th, I had paid to have a remote starting system put on her car for her Christmas present, and this was in return for my Christmas present.
So you had a remote put in her car. How much was that?
$187.20.
And how much was the welder?
I don't remember the exacts, but I would say the welder was in the $120 range. Plus, there was some accessories bought with it.
$178.75, Your Honor.
Now, tell me about this remote starter that he put in your car in November.
I asked for a Christmas gift of the remote start for my car.
And he put that in?
He did.
So he put that in as a Christmas present to you?
Yes.
And you bought this welder as a Christmas present for him?
No, I bought the welder as a Christmas gift for my son.
I don't believe you.
My son requested it.
Mr. Darnell, when she gave you the welder, what did she say?
Merry Christmas.
That's... Your Honor, that's not
true. Was it unwrapped?
It had never been wrapped.
Okay, let's leave out the welder for a moment, Miss Maddox. Let me hear about the Christmas presents.
On November 4th is when I actually started my Christmas shopping, and we had went to Sam's Club together, and for my 2 grandchildren, I had bought 2 TJ Berry Tales. They're animated learning teddy bears. The teddy bears actually read to my grandchildren. I purchased them for $128.10.
Why did you leave it at his house?
Because the animated teddy bears, some of the stuff was electrical, and I didn't want to leave it out in my vehicle overnight.
Okay, I see. Now, all the stuff that you purchased, that you left at his house, comes to how much, exclusive of the welder?
$479.30, or 38 cents, excuse me.
On what date did you break up?
December 9th.
According to your complaint, you tried to work things out on December 17th.
I had called and left a message on December 16th to talk to him.
Mr. Darnell.
I returned the phone call. She was argumentative, and I just didn't feel that I wanted to contend with it at that time.
Or at all?
Or at all.
So you didn't see her on December 17th?
No.
What happened on December 9th, sir?
We were supposed to go to her job Christmas party that evening, which I had already been to my business and taken care of stuff, and I got a call back that I had to go back due to an equipment problem. I tried to get a hold of her for over an hour, and she couldn't be gotten a hold of, and I finally did get a hold of her and told her that I couldn't go to the Christmas party, and she become upset about it. So I just finally told her that I think we needed to part company.
Okay. Now, at that time, these Christmas presents were at your house?
Yes, they were.
Where were they in the house?
They were in the living room.
And when did you find them missing, sir?
December the 18th.
Tell me about that.
I got home from work at approximately 4 p.m. and I noticed the stuff was gone, and there was a few of her personal effects that was gone out of the bathroom. And
what kind of personal items were in the bathroom?
Basically just cosmetic stuff.
And that was gone?
Yes.
Other than that, did she have anything else in your home?
No.
No clothes?
No.
So just the Christmas presents and some items in the bathroom? And that was gone? And when for the first time, Mr. Darnell, did Miss Maddox call you and say she wanted these Christmas presents?
On Thursday, December 21st.
Where did she reach you?
She called me on my cell phone.
And what did she say to you?
That she wanted her belongings back, and I asked her how I can give something back that I don't have.
And what did she say?
She said I was a liar. So the next thing I know, she was at my house with a Muskingum County deputy. She tried to make the deputy let her into my home, and I wouldn't let her in the home. And then he asked me about the welder. I said, yes, I do have the welder, but it was given to me as a gift. And he basically told her that was the end of it because it was given to me as a gift.
You have the police report?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it, please.
It's not actually a report. It's a log where they showed up.
When you called the police, Miss Maddox, to accompany you, what did you tell them?
I told them that I saw him loading things into his car, and I needed assistance to make sure that he didn't take off with the teddy bears. I thought it was the TJ Berry Tales.
When did you see him putting things in the back of his car?
On the 21st of December. I had called him, left him a message. He called me back, told me I would never get my belongings back. I had 3 CDs in my car. I didn't want...
That was on the 21st?
This was on the 21st. So I went to his house anyway. I handed him the CDs because I didn't want them. I said, could I please get my stuff? And he said, you'll never get your stuff. So I left. I went to some pawn shops. Hoped maybe he'd sold them. I could maybe buy them back for my Christmas presents. And they wasn't at the pawn shops. So there's a school behind his house, and for some reason, I pulled behind there, and I saw him loading 2 boxes into the back of his car. And I thought they were the TJ teddy bears. I really wanted them for my grandchildren. So I called the deputies to help me get them.
Did they look in his car?
No. They said it was property. That's why they didn't. Because at that point on me, I did not have the receipts.
I have to make a judgment as to whether or not you're telling me the truth. What do you think I'm going to decide?
You'll probably rule in her favor.
I will. Do you know why?
Why?
Because she's telling me the truth. That's why. Because I've been in this business for 40 years. And that's why I can tell who's telling the truth and I can tell who's lying. And there isn't a question in my mind that this lady would not have come to court today unless she felt as if you did the wrong thing by keeping her grandchildren. It may have been other things, you know. There were other things other than gifts for her grandchildren. Maybe she would have let it slide. But it really irritated her that because you broke up in a way that was unpleasant, you took her property, which I believe, I don't know what you did with it. You sold it. You have grandchildren. Maybe you gave it to your grandchildren. Maybe you gave it to your friend's grandchildren. Maybe someplace. Maybe you donated it to children. Who knows what you did with it? But there is no question in my mind that you had her property. The welder is yours, Mr. Darnell. I honestly believe you when you said to me that she gave you that as a quid pro quo for putting the starter in her car. And it was an early Christmas present, but not the toys. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $479. That's all.
All parties in the matter of Hall versus Smith. Step forward.
Harriet Hall is suing the mother of her grandchild, 22-year-old Allie Smith, for the cost to care for her children after she failed a court-ordered drug test.
Miss Hall, you have a son.
Yes.
Your son made a baby with this lady.
Yes.
This lady had a child from another relationship.
Yes.
You get a call from this lady who's both my kids because I had a positive drug test. Is that right?
Yes.
And would you help me out and take my children because otherwise they're going to go into foster care?
Yes.
You say okay. And you took both her children, your grandchild and her other child. How old?
2.5.
How long did you have the children with you?
Till March 19th, 4 months.
For how many? 4 months?
4 months.
You want Miss Smith to pay support for that child, not your grandchild, but for the other toddler for the 4 months that you had him, boy?
Yes.
And Miss Smith says that there was never an agreement to pay you for either of the children, so she has no obligation to pay you. Is that your defense?
Yes.
You don't have to have an agreement with her.
She didn't ask for any money. She has never asked me for any money until last month when
Well,
I